Have you always believed that art is not a team sport? That being a successful artist means locking yourself away in your studio, creating your masterpieces, and never talking to anybody about your process? Well, let me share this secret with you. Making more friends in the creative community might be exactly what you need to grow as an artist right now. If you've been stuck in a rut, always painting the same things in the same kind of style, never feeling motivated to make new pieces, and quitting halfway whenever you do get started, chances are you're probably feeling really alone right now. And watching other artists thrive on social media isn't exactly helping, right? You might be feeling like nobody in your life really gets what you're going through, or wishing that there was somebody who could give you feedback, listen to your ideas, and pull you out of your funk. But so far, you haven't had much luck finding people on the same wavelength. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you already know that I'm a big believer in using art as self-care. I talk a lot about the benefits of painting to release stress and bring more joy into your life, and really to get comfortable being by yourself and taking time out of your busy day to create. Art isn't only a great way to connect with yourself and find your inner voice. It's also a really great way to connect with other people and make new friends. And we all know that the older we get, the harder it is to make new friends outside of work, right? So today I wanted to talk about the positive impact that building your creative community can have, not only on your art, but also on your life. No matter how far along you are on your painting journey, you don't have to do it alone. So the first reason to surround yourself with more creative people is, of course, to make new friends. Think back to when you were in school. You probably gravitated towards people who shared your interests. Maybe your friend group liked music, or played on the same basketball team, or enjoyed reading in the library at lunchtime. You spent so much time surrounded by people who liked doing the same thing as you. And as time went on, you watched each other grow and improve. And maybe you even had a healthy amount of competition going within your group, and you were always motivated to improve your skills so you could be the best. As we get older, it's a lot harder to find those people who share our interests, let alone actually make the time to paint or make music or play basketball together. But when we do spend time with people who share our passions, it's so much fun. You basically get to see your hobby in a whole new light because you're seeing it from another person's point of view. When you find that common ground with someone, you get to learn new things, swap tips and recommendations, and discover artists you've never heard of. And as the ideas come flooding in, suddenly you want to practice more and actively look for new ways to level up your skills. And the best part, your new friend is going through the exact same thing. And if there's anything better than growing, it's growing together. It's honestly a magical feeling. So where do you find these creative people? Well, you already know that I'm a huge fan of using social media to connect with people who inspire you and share your interests, but of course, we have to address some of its downsides. Which brings me to my next point. You have to get out of this social media bubble. Talking to other creatives gets you out of the social media bubble and into the reality of being an artist. If you're always comparing your work to other artists on social media and beating yourself up about why your paintings never turn out the way theirs do, it might be time to burst the social media bubble and start having real conversations with people. But let's be honest, social media is not the most realistic representation of what being an artist is like on a daily basis. For example, you might see an artist you look up to creating 3 finished pieces every week because that's what they share online. What you don't see is the meltdowns they had because they couldn't get the colors to blend right, or the huge stack of failed attempts on their desk, because people don't tend to share the whole process. They just share their wins. And when all you see is the final result, it's super easy to forget about the time that went into it. And it's even easier to forget the years of hard work that it takes to get really good at something. Judging your reality by someone else's highlight reel is never a good idea, but it's especially dangerous if you're a beginner, because every time you scroll through your social media, you'll start questioning your abilities and feel like giving up. There's a really thin line between inspiration and comparison, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of it. This is where the power of community comes in. Sometimes all it takes is one conversation with someone who understands what you're going through to shift the negative mindset and know exactly what action to take. Once you start talking to other artists, you'll quickly realize that we all share the same struggles. We all have days when we don't feel like creating, or when everything we try goes wrong. We all feel like giving up on a painting sometimes, especially during those messy and very ugly stages early on in the process. So start talking to people about the process, and you'll see that for every high, there are hundreds of lows that you don't see on their feed. And I know that it can be really intimidating, especially if you're an introvert, but I promise you, people won't bite, and most of the time they're looking for someone to talk to as well. Plus, they like art too, so you always have something to talk about. Okay, so as I mentioned, all artists have days when they just don't feel inspired, but being part of a creative community can actually help with that. So many of us still believe in the myth that you need inspiration to create good art, when in reality, it takes showing up consistently and practicing your art as often as you can. If you haven't seen my recent video on the myth of motivation, I highly recommend that you check it out, and I'll leave the link in the description box below. In that video, I talked about designing a lifestyle that supports your creativity. If you want your painting habit to stick, or any other habit for that matter, you've got to tie it back to your identity or the kind of person you want to be. You might have heard the famous saying that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. That's why sometimes you'll catch yourself picking up the same phrases your parents use or wearing similar outfits to your closest friends. You're not copying anybody, but subconsciously your brain is picking up on social cues from your environment and translating that into the things you say or do. Whether we notice it or not, we are influenced by the people closest to us, so it can be super helpful to be intentional about the people you surround yourself with if you want to see positive changes in your own life. For example, we all know a person who is always super positive and optimistic, never complains about anything, and makes us feel good about ourselves every time we see them. If you spend a lot of time in that person's energy, you'd probably start looking on the bright side of life too, right? It's the same with creativity. If you're having a hard time staying motivated to create art, or you find yourself giving up on your paintings too quickly, it might be because you're not surrounding yourself with people who support your art and inspire you to keep pushing through the challenges. I'm not saying you should blame your motivation issues on other people. The truth is, the best kind of inspiration comes from within. But you can use the power of community to grow as an artist. Spending time with people who are trying to get better at painting is probably going to make you paint more. If you see someone else pushing through a messy stage in their painting and come out the other side with a gorgeous final result, you'll remember that next time you're frustrated that something didn't work out the way you hoped, and you have to decide whether to scrap it or keep going. Knowing that somebody else is going through the same things we are, or that they've done it in the past, makes us feel a little less alone with our problems and a lot more motivated to keep going, right? Seeing what's possible for other people ultimately expands your idea of what's possible for you when you believe in yourself and stick to your art. And of course, it works both ways. When you share your highs and lows with other creatives, you end up inspiring them too. The last reason to surround yourself with creative people is conversation. And by that, I mean giving and getting feedback, both positive and constructive, bouncing ideas off each other, knowing that whenever you have a problem or a question, you have a support system to turn to. Becoming a better artist is not just about getting praise and compliments on your work. Sure, they're amazing to receive, but to be honest, you could probably get them from friends and family. But there are moments when you really need to hear the truth from someone who's been there and can point you in the right direction, especially if you want to improve your technical skills. When you're surrounded by people who do things differently than you've always done them, it shifts your perspective and opens you up to a whole new world of ideas that you never even thought to try. And your skills end up evolving way faster than if you were creating all by yourself. And speaking of skills, being part of a structured community, especially a group setting like a painting class or retreat where everyone is at a similar skill level, means getting to share an experience. In a focus group like that, it becomes really obvious that everybody struggles with self-doubt, everybody has questions, and nobody really has it all figured out. And over the course of the class, you get to know the other people in your group and end up encouraging each other to keep trying and keep experimenting and grow your skills together. Seeing other people learn at the same pace as you is really beneficial to your sense of self-worth because, again, you're not comparing your results to somebody who has been doing this for years. So even if you do have to scrap a painting and start over, you'll see that it's not a big deal like you think it is. As you share the creative process with other artists, you also start to embody the feeling that you don't have to create a perfect painting every time. Once you realize that everybody is there to have fun and nobody's really paying attention to all of the details you've been overthinking, you begin to accept your work as it is, even with the imperfections, and just enjoy the process of creating and being proud of yourself, which is what it's all about. I honestly encourage every single artist to try a painting retreat or in-person class at least once in their life. It's such a magical experience. You learn so much and make friends for life. And if you've been holding back from trying it out because you're worried about sharing your work with other people, trust me, I completely understand. I know that sharing your art with the world can be absolutely terrifying, especially if you've been hiding in your corner for a while. And if you've been thinking of joining a community of artists for a while, but you haven't found a local painting group that you really connect with, then my next 4-week watercolor retreat is perfect for you. We start in around mid-August, so it's the perfect way to round off the summer on a high note. Everything is online, so you can join from wherever in the world you are. It's such an amazing way to connect with other artists who are on a similar journey as you, and also to make a commitment to your painting practice. You get to level up your skills, paint alongside a wonderful group of students, and simply learn to enjoy the process of painting for fun. Everybody on the retreat shares the same goals: to have fun, learn new skills, and learn new things about themselves that they weren't aware of. It's super empowering, super supportive, and honestly, a really transformational experience. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out and join the waitlist to save your space when the doors are open. And as always, if you have any questions about the retreat, you can leave them here in the comments or send me a message on Instagram. I would love to see you there. But whether you join the retreat this time or not, I hope this video gave you some inspiration to get out there and make some new artist friends. The people we spend time with really do shape the people we become. So I hope you find somebody who grows with you and inspires you to be your best creative self. Be sure to leave a thumbs up if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.